Hey guys, it's that time again. The year is coming to a close, which means I need to pick out my favorite finds of 2021. That's right, I went back through all of my videos and picked out my 10 favorite finds that I made this year. And before we hop into it, I do want to clarify that this is going to be a list of my personal favorite finds. These are not necessarily the most valuable things that I've found or the biggest hauls that I found. These are just my favorite finds that I ended up finding over the course of this year. Now let's get into it. Starting off here at number 10, we have to go all the way back to the beginning of the year when I was living down in Charlotte, North Carolina. I went to an estate sale and it was loaded with a ton of retro toy goodness. It's no secret that retro toys are some of my favorite things to flip. I love the nostalgia factor. I love the 80s and 90s toys. They're just so bright and colorful and intricate and well made. They are just some of my favorite things to flip, and this estate sale was packed full of them. And I mean, they were chocked full of everything that you can possibly want. They had Star Wars, they had Masters of the Universe, they had G.I. Joe, Transformers, vintage cars, Hot Wheels, anything that you can think of, they probably had at least one of in this sale. Now, obviously, I wasn't the only one who saw this, so there were a lot of other resellers there. The competition was high for this one, but I still walked away with some great stuff. I ended up getting a bunch of wrestling figures, Voltron figures, Transformers, G.I. Joes. It was just overall a very, very solid haul. Got a bunch of stuff that I'd never dealt with before, and of course, I got some iconic pieces as well, so this is why this solidifies this sale in the number 10 spot. Next up here in the number 9 spot was one of the most profitable single item pickups that I made this year. I found this right when I got back here to Cincinnati at one of the first yard sales I went to. I found this Canon Pixma Pro printer. Now I know what you're thinking, why is a printer one of your favorite finds of the year? Well, I gotta tell you, it is mainly because of the price it sold for. I'm a reseller, I like making money, it's what this channel's about, and this item right here ended up selling for $900 in under a week, and at this yard sale, I only paid 50 bucks for it.
Would you take 50 on the printer?
Yep.
Cool.
You're probably giving a chip just to get out of it.
Finds like these don't happen every time you go out, so whenever I find an item that flips for close to $1,000, it's going to stand out in my head, and for that reason, I've put this at the number 9 spot. Coming in at the number 8 spot, gotta head back and look at the Charlotte days once again, where I found a huge bin full of weapon mags. This one single bin that I picked up was full of hundreds and hundreds of different brand new and used weapon magazines. Not only did I end up making a ton of money on this stuff, but it opened me up to a new niche of reselling, an area that I had never sold in before, so I had to learn a ton of stuff to make sure I was moving this through the proper channels. I wasn't able to sell a lot of it on eBay and Amazon and Mercari like I normally do, so I had to learn a huge new platform called Gunbroker, and I ended up making a good amount of money through that platform. So this, for that reason of me being able to learn something new and make a ton of money on this one deal, puts this at the number 8 spot. Next up here in the number 7 spot is a retro toy score that I had no intention of finding on the day that I found it. In fact, I wasn't even out garage sailing the day I found this. I just happened to be driving by and I didn't have my camera on me initially, so I had to run back to my car, grab my camera, and then start filming like the second half of this find. Otherwise, you guys just wouldn't have believed that this was a score that I ended up getting. But I ended up walking into this garage and it was chock full of retro goodness. There was Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Transformers, vintage Snoopy stuff, got some 70s like glow-in-the-dark UV blacklight posters. It was an awesome, awesome sale, and this is why I tell you guys to stop at sales whenever you find them, whether it's a thrift store, garage sale, yard sale. It doesn't matter. If you're driving past, make that stop. You never know what you're gonna find. I found this stuff late in the day on a day where I wasn't even expecting to be looking for stuff. And now for the number 6 spot is an item that I ended up keeping for myself for personal use. This wasn't an item that I bought in order to resell, but I was at a citywide garage sale and came across a Trek mountain bike that I paid $10 for and ended up keeping it for myself. It was my size and it's something that I get use out of a lot now.
Are you selling your bike?
Yep.
How much?
10.
On the bike?
Yeah.
I'll do that. Can I keep it here and then pick it up later?
Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
And for those of you guys who didn't know, Trek is a great brand to look for when it comes to bicycles, and if I did end up wanting to resell this in the future, I could definitely sell it for a few $100s profit, no problem. For the number 5 spot, I had to give it to that huge lot of clip-on earrings that I bought at a garage sale for $12. Before this summer, I had virtually no experience selling used jewelry online at all. I didn't know what I was looking at, I didn't know what to look for, and this was one of those lots that I picked up this summer that definitely exposed me to the possibilities that jewelry has in the resale market. In the box of stuff that you're seeing on screen right now, there ended up being about 60 different pairs of clip-on earrings, and I had no idea that clip-on earrings could demand the prices that they did. When I put these up for auction on my eBay store, I ended up selling 4 lots of them for $280. I just couldn't believe it. I had no idea that clip-on stuff could be worth that much, and this was actually a tip that one of you guys gave me down in the comments, so thank you guys for all the support and help. This is why I love this community. And now for that number 4 spot, I was really surprised that I couldn't put this up higher on the list, but this is probably the best retro toy haul that I made this year. We already seen a few toy hauls that I made this year, however, this one definitely takes the cake in not only the sheer amount of stuff that I was able to get at this sale, but because of the quality of stuff that I was able to get from this sale as well. I ended up getting a bunch of different G.I. Joe stuff, Jurassic Park stuff, Transformers stuff, and some of those things were some top dollar items. I mean, I ended up getting a few bags of 3-inch G.I. Joes at this sale, and some of those Joes I ended up selling for over $100 a piece. I think there was probably 5 or 6 of them that sold for over $100. On top of that, there were also, I don't know, 20 or so figures that ended up selling in like the $20 to $100 range, so this was definitely something that stood out. I also ended up grabbing this huge bin full of Jurassic Park figures from the early 90s, and just one of those vehicles ended up selling for like $350 by itself, not to mention all the other little vehicles and dinosaurs and people in between. I ended up making like $600 just on the Jurassic Park stuff by itself. This sale was just absolutely nuts and definitely deserves a spot this high on the list. Now, moving into my top 3 favorite pickups of the year, I have to put that insane roughwear haul that I made at the flea market here at the number 3 spot. I've been lucky enough to come across quite a few lots of roughwear during my time as a reseller, so when I saw this entire table just chock full of various roughwear stuff, from harnesses to jackets to boots to puffer vests, I knew I had to make an offer on everything, and that's exactly what I did.
Would you do an offer on everything? On all the dog stuff?
So that's what I did. I ended up making the seller a pretty solid offer on every single piece of roughwear that they had, the majority of which was used. However, there was still some new stuff sprinkled in there. And not only did I end up making some good money on this stuff, I also opened the door to doing more deals with the seller in the future. And since that video went out, I've done 3 more deals with them for even more inventory. So not only was this a good pickup for me, it also opened up a great new connection that I've been able to source from in the future. And now for the number 2 spot. I know I featured a lot of vintage and retro toys in this top 10 list. Like I said, I just love selling this stuff, but there is one piece that stands out above the rest, and it's a piece that I ended up keeping for myself in my personal collection. I just cannot let it go, and that's this guy right here. This guy right here is a retro Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pinball machine, and if that wasn't cool enough, this is actually a legitimate prototype toy that was never released to the public. So this one right here is the only one in existence. And the way that I found this was at a garage sale. The daughter of the person who designed and built this prototype was selling some stuff, and I ended up buying a few different retro toys from her. I said, hey, do you have any more? And she's like, well, actually, my dad was a toy creator for some big names, and we have a ton of toys. So I ended up setting up a private pick with her, went to her house and bought a ton of really cool stuff in general, but that pinball machine was the crown jewel. It was the only thing that I ended up keeping for myself because it is just so unique and so rare. I had no choice but to keep it for myself. And since I put out that original video showcasing this thing, I've had multiple collectors and people reach out to me asking if they can buy it. However, I have still yet to sell it. Obviously, I still have it in my possession because it's just one of those pieces that I found and I think is really cool. So for now, I'm keeping it. However, I have had multiple offers that were close to $1,000. So that is going to be a good profit whenever I do decide to end up selling it. But for now, it's a piece that's sitting in my collection. And for that reason, I have to give it the number 2 spot. And now for my number 1, my absolutely favorite sale of 2021. My favorite score has to go to that haul that I made in the video simply titled The Best Garage Sale Haul of 2021. This haul had everything. It had vintage clothing, it had vintage toys, it had old electronics, it had brand new with tags items. This thing just blew my mind. I ended up spending a ton of money at this sale and got some absolutely insane stuff. This sale just had a lot of everything that I like to find at these things. I mean, I picked up multiple Hudson Bay blankets, including an 8-point king size blanket, which alone goes for $400 to $500. I had a huge stack of Woolrich flannels, like 30 of them that sold between $30 and $60 a piece, a bunch of Woolrich jackets, including one that sold for like $250 by itself and multiple other ones that sold for over $100 a piece. And then I ended up picking up a few different pairs of like LL Bean duck boots, brand new in the box, limited edition ones, some Ralph Lauren stuff that was brand new in the box as well, a bunch of hats and belts and rock t-shirts, some Gibson guitar t-shirts, and I mean there was just so much stuff at this sale. It was absolutely insane. I filled my car up to the brim. You could not put a single piece of anything more inside that car. It was absolutely insane. I couldn't believe that all this stuff was in the same spot. And if that wasn't good enough, I've met up with the lady 2 more times since that initial sale because I told her what I do, that I buy and resell stuff. I was giving her fair prices on stuff, and that led to more opportunity where I picked up like a bunch more vintage toys, including this really awesome like Huckleberry Hound Dog that I ended up selling for over $100. I mean, this sale is the kind of sale that you dream about. There's just nothing else to say about it. It was absolutely the number 1, my favorite sale of 2021, hands down. But that's gonna wrap things up. Those were my top 10 favorite finds of 2021. Let me know what your favorite find that you had was down in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope that you guys all enjoyed this video. If you did, go down low, smash that like button for me, and consider subscribing to my channel for more content just like this. I'll see you when I get back from Connecticut. Till next time, keep on treasure hunting. Peace.